Hello everybody and welcome to Tiger Tales, a place you'll find stories and fanfictions written and read to you by your host, me, Tai Tiger. However, today we're diving back into Storytime with Cosplay Dude 637, a little series going on where a cosplay dude is actually writing his own storylines, and we're continuing the Storytime project here on Tiger Tales. So with that being said, we're diving back into Sword Art Online Dark Forest. Currently, at the moment in time, we've been re-uploading Sword Art Online from his Storytime with Cosplay Dude 67 podcast, which has now been halted for now and continued here on this channel. So that being said, let's dive back in to our Sword Art Online story with Cosplay Dude 637. Sword Art Online Dark Forest. Chapter 5. Cave walking.
The Leprechaun capital, Fiernan. Leprechauns originate from the reclaimed area in the north. They are known to be the blacksmith race and live inside a factory-like sector that is bordered by the Gnome territory to the west and the Spriggan territory to the southeast. It is also where leprechauns who log on for the first time start their journey. This is where Elizabeth set up her blacksmith shop. It was the day of the big mission to the Cave of Wonders, and for some reason, Liz asked me to come to her shop alone. I logged in from my bedroom an hour before we were all set to meet up at the cabin on floor 22. I headed straight to her shop and knocked on the back door. A hand reached out and pulled me into the shop. "What the hey?" I shout, getting dragged in. "You came alone, right?" Liz asks, looking at me with crazy eyes. I nod. "What's going on, Liz?" "You remember the dragon on floor 55 of Old Einkrad?" "Yeah. It's the White Wraith. That was the mission that we met on. You made me Dark Repulsor. Out of the ingot it dropped." Liz smiled and walked over to her workbench there in the back room. On the table was something under a white cloth. Liz gives me a look of pride and then ripped the cloth away. There on the table lied a black sword that looked just like my old Dark Repulsor. "Its name is Dragon Fang," she says. I just stood there looking at one of the most beautiful swords I had ever seen. "It's incredible. Kirito, don't just look at it. I made this sword for you." Slowly I walk over it to the sword and pick it up. The weight was good. It was heavy. Just the way I liked it. I swung the sword hard, and the air crackles as I did. "Liz, I think this may be the best sword yet." "I know it's not going to beat Excalibur, but I was hoping it would help you out with having both swords." "Liz, this is going to boost my attack strength so much. But why didn't you want me to tell anyone? Why keep it a secret?" "Okay, I will tell you, but don't flip out, okay?" I just look at Liz and cross my arms after I lay the sword back down on the table. So I may have gone with the newbie in silica and headed to the mountain floor. "Liz, are you crazy?" "I said not to flip out. Plus, we had his beast, and now that he knows the enlarging spell, so does silica, and let me tell you, a huge peanut is very scary. We got the ingot and got out of there. So, for one, I did not want to tell the other girls why I did not take them with me, and for two, I don't want other players knowing I can make this sword." Liz plopped down in a chair. "Okay, Liz, I get not asking everyone for help, and don't get me wrong, this is a sweet surprise, but you know once people see my sword, they're going to want to know where it came from. All a player has to do is pull up Dragon Fang's info screen, and it will say it was made by you. I know that, but I just don't want to be flooded by tons of orders. I will do my best to keep it under wraps from the other players, but the team is going to want to know all about this bad boy." I pat the sword on the table. "Thanks, Kirito. You're the best. Plus, who knows if anyone could make this sword again? The Dark Repulsor was one of a kind." Liz smiles and places the sword in a sheath and hands it over to me. I smile at her and place it on my back, and then open my inventory and equip Excalibur onto my back. They feel good together, like they were meant to be.
Hey listeners, if you like what you're hearing from Cosplay Dude 637, then you might like to hear more from the Zeo to Hero network, like the main podcast with Jimmy and I, the Bulk of Scholar podcasting. Also, you might want to check out Baker Rangers on Facebook and YouTube, Iron Avenger on TikTok, Neon Lights on YouTube,
And what is the other thing?
and his other show, Fairy Tale. From Cosplay Dude 637. Give it a listen.
After a quick meeting at the cabin, my friends and I were on our way flying to Dragon Valley just south of Salamander territory, in the desert zone. A large sand dune has appeared in the shape of a lion's head. Once again, Ruin went on to tell us how this was just like Aladdin the movie. We all made our way into the mouth of the lion and down a long stairway. Our plan was a simple one. Klein, Ruin, Liz, Silica, and I would play forward, with Sion using her bow from the back lines, where Asuna and Lifa would cast healing magic. The size of the room that the boss was said to be in did not seem suitable for an enlarged Pina or Finrir. Silica never went anywhere without her dear Pina, so Pina flew next to Silica. The little dragon would keep Silica's health up, so that's helpful. Finrir was at Ruin's side in his wolf form. We have not seen him fight in this form, so this should be interesting. Once we find the end of the stairs, it leads us to a long hallway. As soon as the whole team was on the hall, all the lights come alit with fire and music starts playing at the end of the hall. Okay, that's not creepy at all, Lifa shivers. Maybe it's a Halloween special? Klein chuckles. Dude, it's only the 6th. Halloween is not for another 3 weeks, Ruin spits out. Out of nowhere, Finrir starts barking and Pina starts hissing. Okay, that can't be good. Silica shakingly draws her dagger. Everyone turns and looks at me. Let's go, guys. Remember the plan. The others nod as we all draw our weapons. We all make our way down the hallway. The more we walk, the more the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, and the two animals seem to share in this uneasy feeling. Guys, where are all the monsters? Liz asks. Yeah, I mean, if this is a dungeon, where are all the monsters? Sion adds. I was wondering the same thing myself. For a quest to get a legendary weapon, this was a simple one. However, as we find the end of this long hallway, my suspicions were quelled. There before us was a huge door, with ornate carvings on it. If that is not a boss room door, I don't know what is. Ruin snickers. I slowly make my way to the door and push it open. Inside the room was a old laboratory, with beakers and test tubes everywhere. In one corner of the room was a spellbook on a wooden stand. Next to that was a small box that was playing the music we had been hearing, and right next to it stands a huge woman dressed in all purple. In her left hand was a wand made from wood and a crystal at the top. Over the woman's head was the name tag, Morgana, and she had 7 life bars.
Generic audio commercial, Zeo to Hero, take 43. Hey listener, it looks like you're having fun over here. Listening to insert generic name here. If you like what you're listening over here, come on over to the Zeo to Hero podcast, where you can join Billy and myself, the Bulk and Skull of podcasting. If you want to listen to Ranger Powers, and you want to go into and talk about anime, Gundam... Oh, what did I make up wrong?
You're supposed to say Zero to Hero is the best, and Billy and Jim as Bulk and Skull of podcasting is funnier than any other show out there. And you didn't say Power Rangers right. Get out of here, do it again.
Dang it. Fine. Generic audio commercial, Zeo to Hero, take number 44. Hey listener, it looks like you're having fun over here. Listening to insert generic name here.
God!
Oh, come on!
Morgana is the name of the student that betrayed Merlin, Asuna shouts. So, Merlin got the help of the fairies to get his wand back. Morgana smirks, and the crystal on the tip of the wand turns a bright red, and a fireball forms and launches at us. Scatter! I shout and dive to one side of the room. The whole team splits to each side of the room. Okay, guys, this is what we came here for. Let's go! I run in to attack Morgana, and my left hand Excalibur, and Dragonfang was in my right hand. Klein has Mjolnir raised high over his head as he also rushes in. Behind us, I can hear both Asuna and Leafa casting in fairy speak. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see Sion notching an arrow and getting ready to fire. On the other side of Morgana, I see Liz and Silica rushing in for an attack. The one I did not see, however, was Ruin. Did he chicken out and run out of the room, or maybe he just logged off? Then I hear a war cry coming from the top of the room. Just for a split second, I look up and see Ruin flying straight down at the top of Morgana's head, his lance pointed at the crown of her head. As Asuna and Leafa finish their casting, we are all given a magic barrier of health. Morgana's bats climb away with one swipe of her left hand. My attack lands hard on her left leg, with a double slice coming from my left-hand sword and a triple slice coming from my right-hand sword. Silica and Liz were also able to land good hits on Morgana's right leg. Sion got an arrow right into her right hand. Best blow came from Ruin as he dug his lance into the top of her head. Morgana started flailing her hands around, trying to bat at the buzzing bee-like Ruin. Her health had dropped down 2 bars just from that one attack. However, she was not going to let that go lightly. She started speaking in a language I did not know. Holy cow, guys! That's ancient Sumerian! Ruin calls out, just as the whole room starts to crackle. What's going on? Silica shouts. I don't know, but be ready for an attack! As soon as the words left my mouth, lightning starts to strike all over the room. Quick! Under one of the tables! I order. The whole team dive under one of the tables on either side of the room. The sound of shattering test tubes fills the room. I think we made her mad, Klein states. I just give him a shut the heck up look. But a minute later, the lightning finally stopped. But as it does, the table gets flipped over and Morgana peers down at us. We once again jump into action. I fly up, my sword drawn back and glowing, starting to activate one of my sword skills. Next to me is Asuna. She had quickly changed out her wand and was wielding her rapier. I start to do a horizontal spin with my arm out, cutting down one side of Morgana. Asuna sees this and follows up with a 6-hit light fast combo attack to Morgana's face, completely obliterating her left eye. Morgana loses 2 more health bars with that onslaught. Remind me never to make that woman mad at me, Ruin says. That's why she's the berserk healer, Sion says, and fires an ice arrow into Morgana's right eye. The whole eye glasses over with ice. Liz, Ruin, Silica, get to the wand and get it out of her hand, Asuna orders. Liz and Silica jump into the air, their wings forming behind them, and they fly over and attack the hand holding the wand. Liz uses a power attack with her mace, and Silica slices into Morgana's wrist. Pixel blood squirts out all over the place. Girls, get out of there! Klein shouts as he holds his hammer over his head and starts speaking in fairy. Leafa flew up and behind Morgana, straight up and then right down her back, plunging her sword into the open cut that Silica made. She leaves her sword there and jumps down behind Klein. Now, babe! Take this! Klein finishes his spell and a huge bolt of lightning hits Leafa's sword. Morgana screams out in pain and drops the wand. Her health bar drops down to 1/2 a bar. Asu, you need to be the one to end this, I shout, landing next to Leafa and Klein. Asuna nods at me and flies up high, and her wings change from that of her Undine race, but into angel wings. I have only seen this happen one other time. Asuna flies at Morgana full speed. Yuki, lend me your power. Mother's Rosaro! She shouts and hits Morgana with the 11-hit combo. Morgana stumbles back and shatters into thousands of pixels. Congratulations! We all yell out cheers of joy. The fight was over. We had done it. Merlin's wand starts to levitate and slowly it shrinks down to a normal size and flies over to Asuna. The last hit bonus for the battle was the wand. Asuna quickly equips the wand and lets out a gasp. What's wrong? Leafa asked, running to Asuna's side. My magic level just went through the roof. Don't do that to us, I shout. Sorry. It's just so amazing. Asuna chuckles.
This story was written and read to you by Cosplay Dude 637. This is a part of the Storytime with Cosplay Dude 637 playlist, so make sure you check out the playlist to check out all of the storylines on this channel. Then also make sure you check out Tiger Tales Game Over, where Cosplay Dude 637 has been uploading his video game related stories onto that channel as well. Now on with the outro.
This podcast is a production of the Three Ranger Bros Studios, in association with Zio to Hero, the podcast.
Thank you very much for listening to this chapter. If you want to hear more fanfictions and storylines, I have plenty of other Tiger Tales channels that you guys should be checking out. I'm going to give you a list of all of them. There's Tiger Tales, the channel that started it all. There's Tiger Tales The Lost Stories, a channel dedicated to storylines with the first person view. Tiger Tales Game Over, a channel dedicated to video game storylines. Tiger Tales X, official crossover fanfictions, go on this channel. Tiger Tales Mysterious Origins, all my original storylines coming from myself go on that one. Then you have Tiger Tales One-Offs, a Tiger Tales channel dedicated to one-off storylines that have no continuation. We've also now expanded to podcasts, so make sure you check out everywhere you can listen to your podcast, the Fiction Fighters podcast, where you'll find a storyline called the Fiction Fighters, where fiction is power. I want to use this moment to thank all my supporters and the partners of Tiger Tales. First off, make sure you check out Cosplay Dude 637. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of all the places you can find him and where you can listen to his fanfictions. First off, there's Power Rangers Universe 19, a podcast dedicated to Power Rangers and Kamen Rider storylines. You'll also find a few of my stories on there too. Then, you also got Sailor Moon E, a Sailor Moon dedicated podcast storyline. Then you have The Order. Cosplay Dude 637's original storyline goes on this podcast. Then you have the One Piece audio drama YouTube channel, audio drama dedicated to One Piece. Then you have Nostalgia Time, a YouTube channel dedicated to all fanfictions and storylines that are meant to make you feel nostalgic. You also have Marvel Universe 19, where you'll find Marvel related fanfictions. You can also find some of my storylines there too. Now, of course, me and Cosplay Dude 637 are part of a studio called the Three Ranger Bros Studios, so I'd like to mention the third member, Mark the Red Cornish Ranger, and his podcast, Naruto Comics, where he adapts comic books into audio dramas, and you can also find his original Power Ranger storylines there as well. A quick shout out to a few of my supporters. We have the If You Give a Dad a Podcast host, Jared. Make sure you check out his podcast. He interviews some amazing guests. The Zero to Hero podcast, the Balkan Scholar podcasting, Billy and Jim, of course, have been there since the get-go. So make sure you check out the Zero to Hero podcast. Some of my stories wouldn't be here without the Author's Crown YouTube channel's host, A Crown. So make sure you check out the Author's Crown YouTube channel with his fanfictions there. Now, if you'd like to hear me interview content creators about their content, or geek about specific topics with a bunch of geeks, make sure you check out the Tiger Nexus podcast. My podcast can be found everywhere you can find your podcast, and we have a great time. We usually upload on Mondays. Now, of course, make sure you check out the links down below. It'll lead you to some of my other channels. I game on YouTube, I do artwork on YouTube, and I like to talk about movies, TV shows, and comic books on YouTube. So make sure you go check out the other channels. A huge thank you to everyone watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and of course hit that notification bell so you don't miss another chapter. Roar of passion, everybody, and I shall see you guys in the next one.
That before we can...
Don't touch my Pringles.